The children of new consciousness, the ones that are coming in since 1987, they are pulsing with the energy of the new earth, which is constantly shifting and changing beneath the feet every single day, even as we speak here in 2022. So one of the drivers that will change the way these children work together as a generation will be the attitude of having compassionate action in everything that they touch, feel, and take action in the world external. How would this look like, and why is this a predominant feature of these compassionate misfits? Now, I call them misfits because our society in the old energy is not built on compassion. Building something as compassion as the basis is quite different from building a society that is built around fear, around mistrust of one another as race and cultures across the world. Completely different, as you might say. So, when compassion and nurturing energy becomes the basis, it is very unifying in and of itself. You don't need slogans and statements of leadership to call upon fake statements of compassion and leadership in order for something to happen on the ground. These children carry that innate energy in the whole generation of humans that is coming forth in their bones. They feel it in their bones. It's a part of their being. They were born as babies in that vibration. That becomes a game changer, ladies and gentlemen. It becomes a game changer in terms of the way we interact with one another. There is no sense in these children all across the globe who have any sense of fear or working with fear. They might have their own little fears as personalities, yes. But when it comes to interacting with others, they work as a team. They work in the energy of nurturing one another. They don't work in the energy of mistrust. Mistrust will be immediately seen by them. They know this in their bones. They know this in their being. They just know it. Don't ask me how, they just know it. And these ones are the children who will bring forth the energy of caring. The energy of caring and nurturing only comes forth when there is an innate feeling of that, an innate recognition of that in themselves, in their minds, in their hearts. When they know what compassion feels like and they want to live it every single day because they know what it is like. Fear and mistrust are straight away out of the window. They won't buy any ideas and they won't buy any concepts which are not built around it. This is how the rainbow tribe will come about to be. We spoke about the rainbow tribe in previous podcasts. Now, how is that going to come about in the new generation? Well, this is one of the most fundamental building blocks of having an entire generation of humanity which has compassion and nurturing and caring, be it for the nature, be it for earth, be it for other humans, be it for plants and animals, be it for anything. They approach that particular subject of their individual interests with the sense of compassion, with the sense of nurturing and caring for it. That compassion, which is coming as an innate energy, as an inbuilt energy, without any teaching, without any books, without any faith, without any religion. This comes innate. It comes as a vibrational frequency. And they are attuned to it because they were born in it. The older generation have a hard time with this, unless of course you're a light worker or something. They have a hard time with this because they were born in an older energy of fear and mistrust. When fear and mistrust are no longer the operating principles in an entire generation, you can expect massive shifts in the way the collective works, because now you are changing the very foundation of the building blocks on which the entire civilization works. There is nothing wrong with the systems that we have. There is nothing wrong with artificial intelligence. There's nothing wrong with internet or all the tools that we have. They are wonderful tools. It's just what is the energy and the basis upon which you are using this, and how are you using this, and to what means and to what end. What are you trying to accomplish by all of this tools that we have built up as humanity? When the fundamental basis of that changes, everything changes around it. When compassion and nurturing and caring become the basis, it changes the way these people will learn things. They will look for compassion and nurturing everything, discard everything that doesn't make sense. So this whole generation will be involved in discarding a lot of stuff, disowning a lot of stuff. Why? Because the old stuff they sense and pick up. They say, this is garbage. I don't believe in this. This doesn't make any sense to me. I don't want to live my life this way. Or I don't want to be doing such and such a profession. Or I don't believe such and such a thing should exist. They have this strong sense of rejection, which comes about not because they are doing something wrong. It's because they are built with this compassion and they want to bring in something that is right, something that is always been true, and something that human beings were trained out of and mind controlled to think in another fashion. Fear and separation were the norms of the old energy, because all that game was about was power and domination. It's all about power and domination and hierarchy, whereas these kids, because of the nature of the compassion and caring they bring in, they are all about teamwork and benevolence and doing things the right way for the right reasons. We talk about doing things for the right things, but nobody knows what the right thing is in the older generation. They all may have different mentalized concepts of it, but there is no innate knowledge. This is the huge difference I wanted to bring to you. There is a difference between something as a learned knowledge through education, through experience, through maturity and time, and between having something as a piece of innate knowledge. Innate knowledge is far more powerful. It's that knowing in the heart center. They know what it is. You cannot take a knowing away and substitute with something else, because it is always measuring from its own inner state of being. When something is measured with one's own inner state of being, it has an innate knowledge and a powerful aspect to it. You will always measure the external with respect to your internal authority. Remember, we spoke about these kids having a great amount of internal authority. That's why they look to the external world as rebellious creatures. Well, they are not. We need to understand as elders and work with them in the sense of recognition of what they are wanting to do. If they are being very rebellious, or look very cranky to the external world of parents or teachers, you just need to recognize that they want to bring in something. They have come here as souls to bring in something new, something fresh, something that was never there before. And they are hitting against a wall or a block, which is the old energy, nothing else. Physically, there doesn't exist anything like that. There are no blocks. There is no barrier. But they perceive it like that. So when compassion becomes the basis for evolution, further evolution of the human species, going beyond finance and stock markets and economy and all these kind of concepts which are based just around the concept of money and control and power and domination, which are all the old energies gone now. It is in the process of removal permanently. And when this transformation is taking place, these kids are coming online, coming on board, taking positions of authority, taking positions of power, taking positions of governance, and all the other human institutions. They bring in this innate signature of compassion and nurturing. We are heading towards a renaissance, folks. The renaissance of the way human wants to live and wants to love and wants to prosper on this earth, and taking all these aspects into consideration, they have seen the aspects of whatever has happened since 2020. They have seen the aspects of the skirmishes that are going around in the world now in 2022. They are seeing all of this as a drama played out, and they are seeing what they do not want to see in the world in their lifetimes and going forward. So this is creating actually a very strong energy of rejection of the old. First step. First, you have to empty the glass in order to fill something in it. This is the fundamental principle of anything. So they are seeing and emptying out all the stuff that they do not want to see in the world play out as a proper civilization. And they will fill this cup with their sense of innate knowledge of what the new vibrations that the earth is pulsing out, what's coming cosmically from the space, and flooding the energy of nurturing and compassion from the space into the DNA, and they are working with this energy. There's nothing that can stop this wave. This wave is here to stay, and it is beautiful, and we have to learn to work as elders with these children in a way that is harmonious to them, in the way that is caring and nurturing. You can approach these children, if your parents or teachers listening to this, you can only approach them with that innate sense of compassion and nurturing. They will sense that signature in you. They will sense if you're coming with them with domination and control, and they will reject you. This is the way these children are working. You need to understand how these children work, what signature they are bringing in each and every one of them, and nurture it and care for it and make it come to full bloom. Because you as an older generation have no idea, no clue about what this is about. These children seem so different from the ones we are born in. We used to be like the obedient kids, just listening to our masters, the parents, the teachers, etc. And these children are rebellious from day one. They reject everything that they see. One of the main reasons is because they carry that energy of compassionate nurturing and not by domination and control. You see the main difference there. That's the signature that these kids are bringing. And they will bring it as they mature and grow, as they go through their own individual processes, as they go through their own charts, and how the planets are arranged, what they feel like doing, where they feel like shining, what talents they want to pursue, a course of education or as a career path, and so on and so forth. It will come about as a natural course of events. But I want you to keep in mind in this podcast just this much. Think of them as little bubbles of compassion and caring everywhere, each one in their own way. Some would like to do music, some would want to study law, some would want to study politics, some would want to study about humanities, sciences, different kind of sciences. They will pick their subject of their choice because their resonance with that is very strong. This is another thing that parents are noticing everywhere. It's very difficult to box them into one career path that the parent think they should have as a career path. They reject it. They do something completely different. And this is difficult for most people, most parents to understand, especially if they are not following the pulse of the earth, the changing energy patterns. This is difficult for them. It will be easier for light workers to guide these people into some paths which is harmonious for them. They will work with you better. They understand you better. The sensitive elders and the children of new consciousness are a great team. They make a great team because one is coming from a place of maturity and understanding beyond the obvious norms and whatever we are taught. And one is still immature, although they have the potent power of compassion in them. Each one complements the other. One complements the other. One takes care of the other. One elder wise elder who is compassionate knows how to guide them, how to tell them, yes, whatever you are feeling is correct. Yes, whatever you want to do is okay. Yes, there is room for you in this world. Yes, you can accomplish this. Yes, you have got all the tools for success. You have all the power within you, which is greater. The greatest power in the universe is compassion. You have all that supporting you, and this is how you do it. That this is how you do it should be the way the elders would guide them. They can just be the guiding light and watch them bloom, watch them grow, watch them become powerful individuals. That's the compassionate misfit generation we are talking about. I call them misfits just out of love. They appear to be misfits to the whole world, but in essence they are not. They are actually here to create a renaissance of compassionate caring and make that the basis of the new rainbow tribe. I wanted to speak a couple of podcasts on the children of new consciousness. So I'll put this across as another series because it's a topic vast and in and of itself, and it's an ever-evolving topic. Now, who am I calling the children of new consciousness? The children of new consciousness are those kids who are all born, the generation born between 1987 upwards, more so 1989 and 1993. So these children of new consciousness are born in the energy of the shift of the earth into a new paradigm of working, living, a new way of being first. Everything starts with a new way of being. So first, the new way of being will show up in the world through these children. And so I wanted to address all of these children of new consciousness. Some of their traits and some of the things, challenges they'll be working with, and some aspects that they need to learn, work through, as all of us do in every generation. But the children of new consciousness, it's more predominant, and we can see it in our children. I can see it in my kids. I'm sure parents out there who might be listening to this, they can see it in their kids as well. Children of new consciousness have certain offset or certain strange characteristics as compared to the ones born before the shift. One of them, in this one I wanted to discuss, is that they are rebellious in a way that seems to be destructive to the current way of working, living, and how the programming, the cultural programming and the institutionalization of education, of all systems of governance, of all forms of law, of all forms of religion, of all forms of faith and trust, they are born with this innate sense of rebellion against them. They are born with a natural sense of rebellion, you might say. They are born with a sense that I have to rebel against this. I don't accept this form of thinking, or I don't accept this form of faith, or I don't accept this form of living and working, or this civilization. So they are born with this innate rebellion, these children of new consciousness. Because they are born in the shift, they are born in the shifting energies of the physical earth itself, the ground which they stand on, which feeds them, is crying out loud for a shift to take place, and they are the ones who will facilitate through their body and minds and through what they bring this change as they grow up, as they find their paths, as they find their careers, as they find their life unfolding before them. These children not only hold the energy of the shift, because they are capable of it, they are born in that energy of shift. They are far more capable of holding this energy in their bodies and minds than the generations that came before them. So they have to learn to work with the elders and they have to take that and recalibrate that energy, reform that energy into new forms. This will be the task for them pretty much throughout their lives. So the first aspect we would see in these children, and I'm saying children because I'm 50 plus, so right there I will see them as children. These ones are in their age group of 40 plus now, some of them 20 plus, some of them 18 plus years onwards. So the age group varies and the maturity varies, but we will see the single thread of rebellion through them, running rebellion energy through them. So it will be difficult for anyone to convince them of something, to do some marketing of ideas, to let them buy into an idea of God or faith or way of working, or you should be doing this or you should be doing that. Immediately you will sense a rebellion in them. Immediately you will sense them stepping back, because they bring an energy of sovereignty, a natural sovereignty. Understand this properly. It's not a cultivated sovereignty. They don't need to be told who they are. They know who they are, that kind of an energy. If a person inherently knows who they are, they will rebel against anybody external, be it an authority figure of any kind, authority figure in the form of a book or of a role model or of any one of these things. They will rebel innately. Something in their mind and something in their body will instinctively rebel against this idea of being controlled, idea of being told to think a certain way or act in a certain way or feel a certain way. They can pick this up. You cannot fool them. This is the first big leap in humanity which is taking place right now, and it's one of the biggest aspects of the children of new consciousness. Innate rebellion against anything that is of a nature of programming, nature of predetermined thought or predetermined belief or predetermined ideas, and the hidden agendas that are buried underneath. They know it, they see it. If you see everything that is buried under it, you will not accept that idea. And these children are born with that innate capability. So that's one very good aspect to be encouraged, sustained, and see how to work with for the elders. For the elders, generations who are already in places of maturity, even astrologically speaking, or in their life or in their age groups, they will be challenged to work with this, be it in corporate or company environments or institutions. Like, who are these kids? Why are they rebelling against everything? What can we do to support them? How are they working? How are their minds and hearts working, really? Why are they rebelling against everything? Well, it might not be so much to do with the adults themselves. It might be more to do with the kids and how they need to guide them. They need to understand the children of new consciousness. They need to understand how these people are working, because no astrological chart will be able to predict how these minds are working. It will show the similar Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, whatever it is, that the previous generation had. Pretty much, it doesn't change. But these ways of working are nothing to do with planetary alignments. It's nothing to do with birth charts. It's nothing to do with zodiac. It has to do with just shifting energies on the planet itself. This is on a whole another level. This is at the DNA level. This is at the vibrational level. So their ways of thinking, their ways of associating with their friends, with their peers, will be very different from the way you associated as an elder generation with your peers. If you notice that, you can notice they do not like to classify and divide between themselves. They pretty much mix with everyone of their peers. They get along very well with their peers. Doesn't matter which faith or religion they come from, doesn't matter what they look like, doesn't matter which class of society they come from. They might be rich or they might be poor. These children just don't care. These children are born with the innate ability, or the unconscious or the subconscious ability to see that. Imagine if you're born with such an ability to see beyond all the programming straight away, and you don't know why, but you can see it. and you rebel against it. So this rebellion energy is very, very strong in the children of new consciousness. So understand this, and even if you are a child of new consciousness born after 1987 and you are listening somehow to this, you need to understand that the rebellion energy is a gift for you. You also need to understand, if you're an elder listening to this, that the rebellion energy, the way you want to work with it is to understand it, is to nurture it, not to fight against the rebellion. It's like if you put rebellion against rebellion, nothing fruitful will ever come out of such a situation. You need to understand that rebellion needs to be nurtured, understood first. If something is being triggered in these kids and they are rebelling against it, it might be the opposite, that as an elder you might want to learn from this younger generation. Okay, you are rebelling against such and such an idea that I proposed. Why is it? What do you see in that I'm not able to see? It's almost like the reverse. It's like the children of new consciousness become the teachers for the elderly generation. Now this will be tricky because there's a lot of ego involved at the human level. Traditionally, we are told that the elders know more and the kids know less. But these children are coming with a reverse kind of pattern in their DNA, in their understanding, in their soul lifetimes. They come with a very powerful energy of discernment, and which gives them the attitude of rebellion. So we might need to learn more from the kids, understand the kids. This is where you are rebelling against. Okay, can you explain to me why you rebel against such and such a thing? Parents need to work in this reverse kind of way, as if these children are your teachers, as if they are the ones who have come with some wisdom, which they are constantly getting triggered by, getting angry about. They want to do something different. You say A and they want to do X. And you're thinking, why would these kids behave in such a way? Well, this is one of the reasons why it is such and such. It's very esoteric, it's very deep. I'll try and cover this in many different podcasts as we go along in this season. But the children of the new consciousness carry a new vibration of the earth. They are bringing in souls from everywhere around the galaxy, from other planets. These children come with a knowing that defeats all known ideas of humanity that have been built in every field of human knowledge. And they are everywhere, all over the planet. They are not in one country even. They're scattered all over the globe. We are talking about an entire generation of human beings that are coming in. They will mix freely. They have no boundaries. They will mix freely with everyone. And this is one of the beautiful things about the kids of new consciousness. They are here to bridge the idea of separation. They are to go beyond the separative ideas which have created countries, boundary lines, state lines and country lines. They have come to break that idea. They have come to transform that idea into something more natural, something more innate, something more natural to the human beings. It is natural for the human beings to mix with everyone. However, the programming has created that separation and fear. You have to fear those other people, fear those other people of other countries. No, you should not mix with so-and-so people because they are of such and such. These kids will be born into every country, race, religion, and they will transform their respective places. They will talk to others of their own generation, and they will grow from their peers, because within their peer group they don't have much of a rebellion. If you notice, these kids will mix very well with their peers. It's like they almost have an innate understanding. I understand you, where you're coming from. They have a heartfelt energy about them. This is a beautiful aspect. They rebel against the previous generation probably. They rebel against idea and institutions, but not within themselves. This defeats the idea of separation and war and all these kinds of things. There is no need for any battle, and these kids will take it to a whole next level in their generation through all their learning, to a place where there is more of an understanding of the compromise energy, negotiation with a higher vibration attached to it. How do you negotiate without a winner or a loser situation? How do you not fight with one another and yet both walk out winners? This is what these kids are here to bring. This is what is a part of the transformation of Earth. Because somebody has to bring it, and there's a whole generation which has come worldwide which is going to bring this about in very grounded ways, in very different fields, in very innovative ways, something which you have never seen. So it's good to stand by and watch these kids, learn from these kids, and support them. We have to support these kids in every possible way we can. That's it for me for now. Think about the rebellion energy. And if you're watching this on YouTube, I love your comments. Take care and have a safe day. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Light of Lunch Progressive channel. Today we're going to speak a little bit about the point of creation, because the energies of the planet are so high and so vast and all-encompassing right now and going forward, that it is spurring and creating a new level of creativity amongst all people. It will. And even in the generations to come. But it has to take on a new form. And how does that come in? But first let us speak before that about generalities and specifics. The general things of your situation, circumstances, life versus the specifics of it. Every one of you listening to this and in the future will be coming across general things of life. First is the general things of life, your general situation, the society or the country that you are living in, the surroundings, your family, your parents, maybe if you're still living with the parents, or if you're living with your love interest or your spouse or your family and kids. First is the immediate family, and then you'll be coming across general things of your society. We're talking of generalities here. So general things about your society, whichever land you are in, whichever language you are speaking, your mother tongue, the language of your culture and country. That's the first general aspect that the soul comes to understand. Okay, I'm here, I'm in this house, I'm in this locality, I'm in this country, and this is the past history, this is the past events that have happened in this country, and you understand all of the generalities there. You understand the past. Basically, what you're understanding is all the past. Let it be in terms of knowledge, whatever you study as science, history, geography, literature, religion, spirituality, if you want to go there, and everything else, whatever you're studying, whatever the professions that are current, is only the past which is ever evolving into the future. So we are all on a timeline where generalities approach us as spirit embodied in consciousness first. First we come across generalities. First we come across the past. First we come across what has happened and what is transpiring right now. That's the first thing each one of us learns, the generalities. And in that, we have something called as our own individual survival instinct. We have a survival instinct, each one of us. Okay, how do I get my food? How do I get my water? How do I get my drink? How do I get my clothes, shelter? What do I need to do to sustain and protect myself? This is nothing but the survival instinct. And each one of us has that, and it is necessary. Everything is necessary in this. Look at it as everything is necessary, and everything is changing, and everything has to morph or transcend into higher kind of knowledge, higher forms of it, higher meanings of it, and then somebody else comes along, or the next generation of humanity comes along and takes that as the starting point and goes forward. So it's a continuous timeline. The time is moving continuously, And one generation of human comes and takes and morphs it, takes it onto a next form and takes it forward. But remember, we are talking about generalities and specifics. So generalities every one of us is faced with. That's the first thing. A little more into the maturity of the human being, and they will all start thinking about specifics. As the person grows, as they come into teenager and beyond the teens, each one of the humans will start thinking about specifics. How do I fit in? The individuality comes into picture. The Uranus, if you want to go the astrological route, the Uranus comes and starts playing in our lives. We start to think in terms of specifics. Well, okay, all this is general stuff. I got this sorted out. I have all these things in my life. I got the survival bit sorted out. I got a job, or I got education and all this stuff. Where is my individual connection to the rest of this? The individuality is an energy where the soul goes into a self-questioning mode, where it thinks and feels in terms of me connecting to the rest of these generalities. The specifics must connect to the generalities. That's where the point of creation happens. The point of creation for everyone starts from the place of getting specific with the generalities. The specifics have to do with the internal world of the person. If you want to speak Vedic astrologically, the specifics will be where the planets are actually deposited in which house and which nakshatra. So that's where the specifics start happening, which is very individual to each one and very individual to the place you are born in. Place, country, latitude, longitude, all the stuff of astrology. So the individuality comes in place strongly when you talk of specifics. Individuality has nothing to do with the general crowd. It has nothing to do with the collective. It has to do with individual. We are always playing in this dimension, the three-dimensional existence of physical body. We are always playing with these two aspects. We are playing with generalities and we are playing with specifics. But when it comes to specifics, it's not about the collective, is it? It's about you meeting the rest of the world, wherever you are, in whatever circumstances you are. So that is the point of creation. That's where a person starts becoming creative. That's where a person goes into a self-questioning mode, a self-examination mode, if you want to call it that, and starts to evaluate, read about, and reflect upon all the specific points that they can meet the collective. As in, you're trying to make a connection with the rest of your situation, the world, etc. That's the point of creation. But real creativity, and here we come to the point of this podcast, the real creativity will come about in every single individual. In this new energy, it will come about from their own personal access to higher dimensions through their intuition. How does one access the higher dimensions is first and foremost and solely by intuition. One's own intuition plays a huge role in accessing the higher dimensions. How do you know, wherever you're sitting in, even listening to this, what's your next highest step? We are not talking in terms of years or months or weeks. We are talking about today, now. You have to ask the question. You have to be asking the questions constantly, living in a questioning mode rather than answering with your mind. Why do you not want to answer with your mind? Well, the mind only knows what is past. It is incapable of concocting. Well, it can concoct or imagine stuff, but it's incapable of bringing in something new. Remember, we spoke of the mind as manas, as the moon, which takes only its light from the sun. Your soul, your mind takes the energy from the soul. That's why the moon takes the energy from the sun. It does not have anything of its own. It's a blank dead planet. It does not have even atmosphere. Think of it like that. That being said, your point of creation must come from your soul. Now, the soul can be accessed on an everyday level only through intuition. So you got to start cultivating intuition very strongly. That's your perfect point of creation where the specifics come about for your life. What must I do next? What profession should I follow? What is it that I can do today to enjoy? What can I do to create lightness of living beyond the density of the physical existence? All of these questions can be answered by your soul, not by your mind. Mind only has a repository of all memories of this life, past lives, etc., etc. It goes on and on, but it has only the past. It does not have the future point. The future point which you're trying to create from today is only dependent upon the soul and what it wants to bring in through intuition. The intuition lands in the mind, and then you are having an inspired moment or an epiphany. That's how this mechanism works. I just wanted to throw a little light on the mechanism of the point of creativity. That's where you access your creativity. To break it down into simple steps, first thing, sit down, tell your mind nothing of the past. The mind will stop. It's just a simple tool I practice. And it's very effective, by the way. If you want to stop the non-stop chattering of your mind and just stop all this past, bring me something new. That's where mind goes blank. If you ask the mind, your own mind, sit quietly and ask, bring me something new, it will not know where to fetch this information from. It doesn't have anything new. So by default, it has to go to the soul level. It has to go to the intuition. And you just wait, the mind becomes quiet. And when the mind becomes quiet, the intuition is pulled forward. As you might have heard, nature abhors a vacuum. So there's no vacuum possible even in any dimension. Something has to come and fill that spot. And where will something come and fill that spot from? It will come from your soul. It will come from your soul through intuition. So, something will feel light to you. Something has a lightness. Follow the lightness. That's why I call follow your bliss. Follow the lightness of where it is leading to. Whatever you must speak about, talk about, work on today. Try to create new things. Remember, we spoke of new human being as having create as the fundamental energy. It's not something which creativity is not something which just for artists or somebody who paints or creates music. That's a much misunderstood term. Even a dry profession like accounting and finance can be creativity. It's a very dry subject. It's just putting numbers together like a mathematician, or even a doctor, or even a biologist, or even a physicist. Every one of the people can get creative in their field. We need to access this creativity through getting specific through the point of creation. And that point of creation can be accessed by every single human by going into an intuitive mode where you block the mind. You say, mind, I don't want any of the past. Bring me something new. So you blank out the mind, you bring in the intuition, and intuition always invariably would tend to feel light. It would tend to feel, yes, I want to do this today. This feels nice to me right now. It's always in the right now. Intuition happens only in the moment, considering whatever energies are going on earth, which is constantly shifting. So you have to be constantly doing this through the days, weeks, and every single day. It's not one thing that happens continuously. You're in a flow of consciousness, flow of energies, which is like a moving river. It is constantly moving. How will you try to keep something fixed in a moving river? You have got to learn to flow with it. You have only one option, which is to flow with the whole thing, right? So you flow with it. That's the best option and the only option we have. So the point of creation, accessing, practice this. It's very easy. Just ask the mind, don't bring me the past, bring me something new, or just say, bring me something new. Mind loves to bring in something all the time. So bring in something new, it goes into a dead stop. It doesn't know what to do because it doesn't have anything new. It only reconstructs past hurts, past memories, past learned knowledge, whatever we learned since we were born, all the education, all the ideas, all the concepts, words, vocabulary, whatever you have seen and felt. It only is a repository of all the stuff which has happened in the past, including your past lives. It doesn't have anything new. If you're trying to bring in your creativity using only your mind, you are just reconstructing the past over and over in a new format. It's like taking an old man and putting brand new young clothes on him. You just redress the person in a new format, but you're not really brought anything new. This is why even we see on social media and online everywhere, people are just rehashing old ideas. Most of the books you will read is only about old stuff, again repackaged in a very fancy format and presented back to you. This is not original. Not original, folks. This is just copy-paste of the same thing over and over again. That's why I'm bringing you to this point of creation. Access your own individual point of creation, which will give you a connection with the collective. Wherever your collective is, collective meaning your street, state, country, race, religion, whatever you might call it. So you have to access that point of creation, personally speaking. I'm speaking to each and every one, single one. Once you start accessing point of creation, you will feel that connection with the collective. Otherwise, you will be feeling like a disjointed person. Okay, I'm here. I got all this old junk, old set of ideas, old set of everything. And you go into survival mode. You're just going on running after wealth or money or partnerships or romance or love or any number of these things that goes on everywhere. You can see it playing out in the collective, in the social media. Why is this going on a repeat cycle? Because people are not accessing their point of creation. You have to learn, and we'll speak much more on further podcasts as well about creation and creativity. How do you create? From what points do you create? This is what came to me today as my point of creation, and what can I share? I just sit down and ask, what can I share with the people today? Which gives me a lightness. Yes, this makes sense. Let me go for this today. That's how you access your creativity. That's how you bring in the new stuff in your life. Not repeating of the same old. Okay? So keep this in mind and reflect. And if you can leave your comments in the comment box here on my YouTube channel, that'll be fun. We can even interact and talk about this more. And also let me know if you want me to talk about something else. Okay? Meanwhile, take care and be safe. Bye-bye.